Week 19 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters that look to drop this week. The first guy, Jake McCarthy of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And McCarthy got sent right back down to the minor leagues once again. And this season, he just couldn't put things together. The only thing he brought for fantasy owners was stolen bases, but home runs he didn't do anything for. RBIs he didn't do much. And the batting average was poor as well on the year, 245. So on the year, 2 home runs, 14 RBIs, 33 runs scored, 26 stolen bases, a 245 average, and a 325 on base. And over the last couple weeks here, it's just been a wreck for McCarthy. No home runs, no RBIs, a run scored, 3 stolen bases, a 167 average, and a 286 on base. And McCarthy struggled early in the season before he got optioned. Then he came up in mid-June, early July for this Diamondback team. And we saw at the trade deadline, this Diamondback team go out there and get Tommy Pham for a reason. So now with McCarthy getting sent down to the minors, I believe Tommy Pham most likely will be an everyday starter for this Arizona Diamondback team. So the last few games before the cool down, August 8th versus the Dodgers, 1-for-4 stolen base. August 9th versus the Dodgers, 0-for-1. August 11th versus the Padres, 0-for-2. August 12th versus the Padres, 0-for-4. And August 13th versus the Padres, 0-for-3. So he wasn't having good contact. And if he don't get on base and steal bases, he pretty much devalues himself here, is Jake McCarthy in fantasy baseball. And he's not a player I'm really going to be excited to keep in a dynasty or a keeper league. So right now, altogether, I would just drop him here for this season. Next hit is Starlin Marte of the New York Mets. I mentioned Marte as a drop last week, and this Met team, we know they're packing it in. We know they sold a lot at the trade deadline, and right now they're pretty much playing guys just to put guys out there and get through the rest of the season. So Marte last year, he was solid and one of the better hitters on this Met team. But this season, he took a big step back. 5 home runs, 28 RBIs, 38 runs scored, 24 stolen bases, which was good. But everything else was poor for Marte on the year. 248 average and a 301 on base. So right now, still only 65% of fantasy leagues here, Starlin Marte. And last season, we know he got injured before the playoffs for the New York Mets. And ever since last September, he hasn't been the same all the way up to now. And right now, obviously, he's been on the injured list, is Starlin Marte, with the groin and the core injury. And that's going to take a while to heal. And like I said, this Met team sold at the deadline, and they're pretty much playing no names for the most part just to get through the final month and a half of the season. So right now, Starlin Marte is a possibility he won't come back as well. Reports have come out. So right now, he's an easy hitter I would drop this week. The next hitter, Jose Abreu of the Houston Astros. I thought Jose Abreu, he was going to have a nice season over there in a loaded Astro lineup, especially with a guy like Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez on that team. But right now, he's on the injured list with a back injury. And let's be honest, he just didn't do much this season, was Jose Abreu. The batting average went down 70 points. Home runs, they're about the same, and the RBIs as well, but he just didn't have much impact for fantasy baseball. 10 home runs, 56 RBIs, 43 runs scored, a 234 average, and a 291 on base. And the last couple weeks before he went on the injured list, he was in a 3-for-31 slump in the last 2 weeks with 3 runs scored. So Abreu wasn't getting the job done this season, unfortunately, with this Houston Astros team. And the guy up there in age like Abreu, the back definitely could be a major concern. And you know, this Astros team, they're going to make the playoffs and just try to rest him there in the next month and a half. So right now, with all those factors I mentioned, there's really no reason for fantasy owners to keep Jose Abreu. And he's a hitter to drop this week. So the last few games before he went out, August 4th at the Yankees, 0-for-5. August 6th at the Yankees, 0-for-4. August 8th at the O's, 0-for-5. And August 9th at the O's, and that one 1-for-4 with a run. So like I said, he's not doing much here as Jose Abreu. He's a guy that's had a down year, no doubt about it. I think next season he could bounce back in the Astros team. Well, maybe he lost it, because we know right now he's in his mid-30s as Abreu. And he's had some monster seasons, no doubt about it, throughout his career. But maybe the better part of his career is behind him, and he's a hitter to drop this week. Next hit is Duran of the Boston Red Sox. So it's been a tale of 2 seasons pretty much monthly here for Duran. 1 month he's hitting 400. The next month he's not playing much and hitting 200. And right now, once again, he's in one of those slumps. On the season for Duran as a whole, the numbers are pretty solid though. 8 home runs, 40 RBIs, 23 stolen bases, 44 runs scored, a 297 average, and a 349 on base. But the last month of the season, he really hasn't brought much to the Red Sox of fantasy owners. And another factor as well is obviously he don't play a lot versus lefties, especially elite type of lefty pitchers. So the last month, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 6 stolen bags, 11 runs, a 225 average, and a 295 on base. So right now, Duran's actually been dropped in 7% of fantasy leagues here. And like I said, it's been a monthly thing for him. 1 month, he's one of the better players in fantasy. And then the next month, you're not seeing much out of him. August 8th versus the Royals, 1 for 4 rib. August 9th versus the Royals, 0 for 4. August 10th versus the Royals, 0 for 2. August 11th versus the Tigers, he pinched it in that one, 0 for 1 with a walk. August 12th versus the Tigers, 0 for 2. And then August 13th, he sat out in that ball game at a lefty. So right now, he's been struggling mightily over the last 2 weeks to a month, is Jarren Duran. And if he's not getting on base as well like McCarthy, who I mentioned early in the video, hasn't been, there's really no need to have him on your fantasy team, because obviously stolen bases is his specialty, even though his batting average is way better than McCarthy's. But right now, Duran is a drop this week, and the 5th and final hitter I look to drop this week here is Moniak of the Los Angeles Angels. It's just very weird how this season turned out here for this Angel team. They were in the hunt. They're only 3.5, 4.5 games out. Then they go out there, they make a few big trades, get some good pop in the lineup, get Lucas Giolito, and now just everyone's free-falling in this team. And even Shohei Ohtani, his batting has dropped off drastically as well, where he was on a tear and leading the league in home runs by a decent amount. But now, obviously, that goes to Matt Olson as of now. But anyway, back to Moniak on the season. Home runs, 38 RBIs, 30 runs scored, 5 stolen bases, a 289 average, and a 320 on base. So the problem here with Moniak, where he gets in trouble, is he's a free swinger. He swings early in the count, and that's why I think it's part of this slump as well. The last 2 weeks for him, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored, a stolen base, a 152 average, and a 170 on base. But to dig a little bit deeper, the last month, we haven't really seen much. 2 homers, 9 RBIs, 9 runs scored, 3 bags stolen, 252 average, and a 286 on base. So right now, Moniak, I know he's playing every day for this Los Angeles Angel team. But another thing I think throwing him off as well is he's batting in different parts of the order over the last week. We've seen him bat 6th, we've seen him bat 8th in 1 ball game, then 6th again, and then in the number 1 hole as the table setter. And right now, it's just not working out for Moniak. I think they're moving him around the lineup way too much here. And I know this Angel team's trying to find lightning in a bottle, but this season might be over for them, especially coming off this horrible loss at the Texas Rangers to start the series yesterday, 12-0. And their pitching's really been getting racked up. Is this Los Angeles Angel team as well, giving up 35 runs in the last 4 games. So the last few games here, Moniak, August 9th versus the Giants, 0 for 3. August 11th at Houston, 0 for 4. August 12th at Houston, 0 for 4. August 13th at Houston, 1 for 4 rib. And August 14th at Texas, 0 for 4. So right now he's not hitting the baseball, moving in different spots of the lineup, only affecting him. Or maybe the league caught up to him once again, because I know Moniak, he was a guy in the Philly system that just didn't pan out over the last few seasons. But he's come to Los Angeles this year, and he's actually had some decent games and a decent season, as a matter of fact. But right now, while he's not producing, this Angel team as a whole has took a big decline over the last few weeks here since the deadline. He's definitely a hitter I would drop this week, so that's a few hitters I look to drop here on already week 19 of the fantasy baseball season.